So, without further ado, for the cybersecurity side of today's session, we have been considering OWASP, and today we are on OWASP number 7. That is identification and authentication failures. Um, so far, it's been a great session, and today I believe Mr. Amos is definitely going to impact knowledge in us, and it's going to be really practical. So if you're not on your PC, if you've been on the call with your phone, and maybe you shut down your PC because you thought it was all citizenship education, please do well to turn on your PC now, as practicals will be taken, and the session is really, really going to be knowledgeable, and please make sure to engage. All right, Abdulatif, thank you.
Amos, can you hear me? Hello, Amos, are you there?
All this while, few minutes to the commencement, the network started misbehaving, so I have to switch to another network. So sorry for that.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, so please let me know if you can see my screen. I'm going to be sharing my slide so we can start right away. Yeah, just give me a few minutes. The slide should come up now. Please, can you enable sharing of screen? Sharing of screen is disabled.
Yeah, cool, sir. You can share your screen.
Oh, okay. I'm getting the response that sharing of screen is disabled by the host.
Boma, can you look into that quickly?
Host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Please try again now, sir.
All right, let me do so. All right, I think it should be fine now. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
All right. Yeah, so today we'll be looking at the category 7 of the OWASP top 10. Please let me know if you can still see my screen.
Yes, you can see your screen, sir.
All right, thank you. So we'll be looking at the category 7, which is identification and authentication failure. So today we'll be looking at this. Oh, sorry for this mix-up. I didn't change this. Under the content, please ignore security misconfiguration. Not to waste our time, I won't be changing it now. But the content remains the same for the new topic. We are going to briefly look at the introduction. We'll look at the scope, the overview. Then we'll look at authentication weakness. We're going to look at session management weaknesses, and we're going to look at how to prevent it and the techniques to engage in preventing this. We're going to be looking at account hardening and session management as part of how to prevent this from leading us into a serious problem which the hacker can actually exploit on to either cause us harm, get our valuable information, or hijack some of our processes. We'll also be looking at some attack scenarios, and upon looking at that, we'll also look at some little things we can lay our hands upon to do on the ZAP application. In this section, we will explore the category 7, as I've said earlier, and specifically the identification and authentication failure. We'll be looking at a critical category of, it's actually a critical category of web application that we cannot look away from. Please, 1 minute. Madam Edith.
Yes, please.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. I hope you can hear me clearly and there's no background interference.
Well, your voice is very loud, so I think that takes care of it.
All right. That's beautiful. So you also
and then please put in presentation view. Can you put your screen in presentation view so it will be visible enough?
Yes, I did it from here. So it's not on presentation view from your end.
No, it's not.
Oh,
Is it, Emmanuel Boma, is it on presentation view from your end?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Let me stop sharing and share it.
All right.
One minute, please. Let me know if you can see it on presentation view. How about now, please?
Yes. I can see your screen, but not yet the presentation view.
But no in presentation view, sir.
Oh, okay. Just give me a few minutes. It's right here showing that it's on presentation view from my end. I don't know why it's not from your end. Yes, while I'm trying to tweak it so that it can reflect from your end, let me know if what you're seeing is actually on the presentation view. Okay, just give me a few minutes. Just a few minutes, please. How about now, please?
It is still the same thing. So I think it's still the same thing. So I think what you can do is to increase the size. Since it cannot move to presentation view, please go to the, and then we can, no, that's too big. Something like that.
Okay.
It's not presentation
it's okay
view,
like this. Leave it like this.
This way, right?
Yes, but don't let the screen to be affected.
It's okay.
I mean, can you reduce a little bit so nothing, no part of the screen will be cut off?
How about
Just
this?
little bit. Okay, good.
How
Let's
about
go. Let's go.
all right,
It's
thank
okay.
you.
It's okay.
All right, sorry about that. I don't know why it's not effective from your end. Sorry about that. I actually click on the icon, but yet it's still reflecting as not on slideshow from your side. So
Yeah, that's
let's
fine.
manage this
That's
way.
fine.
Yes. So we'll be learning how weak authentication and section management open doors to attacks and how to detect and prevent them using practical tools like the OWASP ZAP. You know, there are other applications apart from the OWASP ZAP. Some of the trainer that took the class previously exposed you to things like Bob Suit and the rest of them. So it's good to have a variety of them so that we can, cope with anyone that we happen to meet in the course of our profession or learning to become a cybersecurity person. As different organizations could actually use different tools to ensure that the security of their information and systems are intact and to test for vulnerability. So the scope of this training will be focused on the category 7, as I've mentioned earlier, and which has to do with identification and authentication, and how to highlight those areas that can actually expose us to attacks. Then participants will also explore common vulnerabilities such as credential stuffing, weak passwords policies, section hijacking, along with real-world examples and hands-on practicals using the ZAP application. Then by the end of this class, every attendee would have been expected to gain insight on how to mitigate against strategies that could be used by the hackers to gain access to our systems and personal information. So what actually is identification and authentication failure? Just as the name implies, whenever these two terms put together fails to achieve their purpose. Why do we have identification? Why do we have authentication? We have identification because everyone on a network or on a particular platform or a owner of an information has an identifier that makes whatever system that will carry out the authentication to know that it is the right individual that is trying to access the system or that particular information. And so processes are put in place to ensure that there are authentication. Now, the authentication is just like your pass. They are mechanism put in place to cross-check some certain credentials to be sure that it's actually the person who should be accessing the system or the information that is making the attempt to do so. So identification and authentication failure occurs when an application improperly verify users' identities or manage authentication process, making them vulnerable to attack like credential stuffing and brute force and section hijacking. So whenever there is weakness in this area, attacks like credential stuffing, brute force, and section hijacking will be inevitable. Now, if we look at the overview of this category 7, please let the person know that I'm having a class. Looking at this, at the overview of the category 7, previously it was known as broken authentication, and before it was moved to the category 7, then it includes common weaknesses enumeration, which relates to identification failures. And below we can see notable common weakness identification counts, which has to do with improper validation of certificates, with host mismatch. And we can also see the one that has to do with improper authentication. So this figure is actually from the OWASP top 10 based on their categorization. Now, moving away from this, we have real world examples. At this point, I want to be sure that every one of us, we are not muted. So I want us to quickly confirm some of this real world example from the internet. The first that we have here is the Facebook. And I want to believe that everyone in this training section has Facebook account. Is there anyone on this training section that does not have a Facebook account? Please, can I have a response?
Come again, sir.
Oh, is there anyone that does not have a Facebook account?
I have Facebook accounts. Everyone.
All right, everyone has a Facebook account.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
in 2019, as a result of bad password storage, poor bad word storage, Facebook admitted that millions of users' passwords were stored in plain text. As a cybersecurity person, you know passwords should not be stored in plain text. It's either you hash it, you use what is this thing called again that most of us have in our application? Okay, I will remember the name in the course of the section, whereby our password are represented in asterisks. That is from the front end of the application when you are imputing it, of which that is not sufficient enough. At the back end, which is at the database level, it needs to be hashed as well. It needs to be, I'm trying to remember the word now. It needs to be in that form as well.
And
So that
encrypted.
yes, encrypted. Thank you very much. So it needs to be in the encrypted version so that if someone should break into the back end or break into the database, that password will still be secure. The customer information will still be secure because they are in a format that is not being decoded. They are encrypted. So they admitted that passwords were stored in plain text and accessible to employees. While not a direct breach, but we know that even if it is not a direct breach, this also highlights a failure in securely handling authentication data. Because social engineering can work through. Someone could actually pick up an employment with Facebook, not with an intention to work as a staff or to protect their confidential information, but just to have access to information that are not properly encrypted or properly stored, like the ones, like the password that were saved in plain text. So, which is also a key component of the OWASP category. The same thing also with Twitter in 2020. I'm bringing these reward examples so that we will know that what we're actually treating is not just that we've just put up some courses together to organize a training. No, there are things that if we don't actually take care of them and the hackers have access to our information, they can impact us negatively. And we are bringing the real world scenario so that we can know that even big organizations like Facebook are careless with some of these things, which can actually cost them a lot. So, as someone who is aspiring to be a cybersecurity expert, we must take cognizance of these little things. were taken over, including that of Elon Musk and Barack Obama.
Please let's give Mr. Amos a moment. I think his network is glitching. So please let's hold on, give him a moment. He will be back on the call.
Amos, I can still see you on the call, but we can't hear you. You know, can
Really hear you, ma. The network is breaking.
This is a serious Nigerian problem. A lot of people are having very unstable internet. I don't know how as a country we're still in this particular place. Even Edith, your internet is going on and off. Even mine that I'm using on the other call is going on and off. Sometimes it will go off. Definitely, that is what the trainer is also suffering from. So I honestly don't know. Maybe people should give us thoughts and ideas
I
because
think
different people are in
network is
different places. Sorry?
I think Airtel network is okay.
Airtel, I mean, people try all sorts. I mean, I'm using MTN on this call right now, which is on my phone, but on my other computer, which you can hear from my background or in my background, I'm using MTN also. So I don't know. I don't know what exactly is the issue. So I think it depends on where you're staying. So if you live in certain parts of town, Airtel is good. If you stay in some other parts of town, it isn't. I
Yes, sir.
honestly don't know.
Yes.
I honestly don't know. But yeah. So maybe we'll wait for him. I don't know how much of it has he been able to do already prior to now? Has he done about 50% of what he's meant to cover?
He's not up to 50%, yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, number what is he doing? Top 10 number what?
Number 7, sir.
Oh, okay. So he's doing number 7. So we have about 3 more as it is, right? That's fine. We're also going. We have a set of questions that everybody needs to answer relative to OWASP top 10. We will release those questions to everybody by the end of the 10. It's very important that everybody takes this into consideration. I was auditing a bank this week and I was reviewing how they were doing OWASP top 10 for all their web applications. I think next semester, one of the things we're going to do is going to be for mobile. So right now, you know that there's a difference between the one for web versus the one for mobile. I suppose everybody knows that. So if you don't, go online and check. So while we're focused on the one for web this time, the next semester, which is going to be after summer, which is going to be towards the end of the year. I think that semester is going to be starting in September. I think
I
that
can
one.
hear doctor and everybody clearly. I
All
can
right,
hear
we could.
doctor and everybody clearly. I don't know why my voice is not being heard again.
Okay, now we couldn't hear you before, but now if you can If you can hear us, that is great. Can you share your screen and go ahead with the session, sir?
All right. Let me share my screen again. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
It's still coming up, sir.
Yes, sir, we can see your screen, sir.
Oh, all right. So, like I was saying before the network glitch, we are looking at the real world examples so that this is going to sound so real to us that it's not like we've just put up some courses together for people to do. These are real issues that are affecting big organizations. And we can see the organization I have on the list. They are big organizations that we believe should have all to take care of security issues. So Twitter, like I was saying before the network went off, had the issue that high-profile accounts were hijacked and tweets were made on their behalf, and you know the implication of such on the company, because surely such high-profile individual may want to take it up with them. So it was as a result of internal authentication control and poor protection against privilege escalation. So that was what enabled the attackers to be able to gain access to those high-profile accounts, and as a result of that, we're able to post things on their behalf. In that same 2020, Zoom also suffered a related scenario where credentials stooping people on their account experienced a surge in that. Accounts were taken over and attackers were able to use the credentials that they've gotten from Zoom to even try to log on to some other accounts and also to log on to Zoom accounts. And you know, the serious aspect of it is that some people use the same account, the same password, sorry, across so many platforms. So for people who have such uh,
Mr. Amos, can you hear me? I think your network is glitching again. Hello, Mr. Amos.
It's gone off. It's gone off again, so we can't hear. We can't hear him. It's gone off. His network is gone off again, so it's definitely his network is definitely unstable. As it is, so that is definitely affecting his ability. Amos, are you back?
yes,
Amos, are you back?
I can still hear you, doctor, loud and clear, sir.
But your own network keeps going on and off. So you will think we can hear you while you would have gone off. So you were describing a certain scenario and then it went off. So please go ahead.
Okay, sir, can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
All right, thank you, sir. I was actually describing that of Zoom. I was done with Twitter, where they actually had a surge in attack, in their accounts being taken over by attackers as a result of the exposure of credentials of their users. And as we know, with that, they were able to log on to Zoom accounts. They were also able to use the same credentials to gain access to same people's platform. You know, some people use the same password across some different systems, different application. For
Sorry,
example,
Mr.
let's say,
Amos. Can't see your screen. If you can
oh,
reshare, please.
all right, let me reshare, please. Please let me know if it's coming up. Please, can we see my screen?
Not yet, sir.
We're coming up.
How about now, sir?
No, sir. It's not
Not
coming
up
up
yet.
yet.
Still trying to share.
All right, or better still, we want to switch to Glow. I'm on MTN. Let me see if Glow will give me a better network. Please, can you give me 5 minutes to switch my network?
If your Glow is stable, then we can switch to Glow.
Yeah, we can see
But
your
I
screen
think you
also.
can stop sharing.
Oh, I didn't get that, please.
I mean, we can see your screen now, sir.
All right, so I can carry on. All right. Yes, so I was actually describing the scenario of Zoom, which actually happened in 2020, where attackers had access to their accounts, and there were takeovers of accounts by attackers as a result of having access to their credentials. So, funny enough, some of these accounts users use the same password and credentials across so many applications. So which made the impact of that vulnerability to be great. So if, for example, I'm using admin on my Zoom application, I'm using it on my Facebook, I'm using it on my Twitter, it only takes the hacker to have access to my Zoom account and go try those passwords on my other accounts. And if I'm practicing such a poor password policy or password usage, they will end up having access to multiple accounts as a result of having access to one through a careless system or a careless provider. Please let me know if you can still hear me so that I may not end up talking to
Yes,
myself,
sir, we
thinking
can hear
I'm
you,
Yes,
sir.
loud and clear, sir.
all right. Thank you very much. Now, this was actually made possible as a result of uh, lack of rate limiting and also not enforcing or implementing MFA, which is multi-factor authentication, of which I know most of us were used to it on our bank application. When we put in our password, there's still a kind of prompt for an OTP for us to put another password or set of codes or digits, which is another layer of security. So if Zoom have actually enforced this, that would have prevented the taking over of accounts that actually occurred in 2020. So if big organizations like Zoom, like Twitter, like Facebook are careless with some of these things, then we will not be expecting less from some smaller organization. However, the impacts of these are actually great. So that is why little things like this must be put into consideration, because by the time such loopholes are left, the hackers or attackers will leave the organization, the system, with a greater impact that may even cost them millions of naira. So we have the fourth one, but because of our time, I'll be moving away from that. We can also look up some of these things on the internet. The information are there, the record are there. That of Facebook happened in 2019, Twitter 2020, Zoom 2020, and the See Today Bridge collection was also 2020. So we can actually go and look at these things on the internet. That will make the course very real to us, to know that these things are actually possible for those who are out there looking for how to penetrate into every form of porosity, into every form of vulnerability that they can actually exploit from our system. Now, looking at authentication weaknesses. Authentication weaknesses will definitely permit automated attack like credential stuffing. Attackers has valid user name and password list. Now, we also see that on ZAP when we do some little practical. Because of our time, we may not be able to do much on the application, but we are going to see where we can actually use the fuse function from ZAP to load likely password, default password that are common, and we run a kind of attack, we run a kind of test, which will give us some codes that could give us some likely password that could be used in carrying out authentication on weak system by studying the code that will be given when such analysis is given after running the fuse test and also analyzing it. Now, so what does this entail? It means attackers can use list of stolen credentials to try to log into many accounts automatically. Now, if there are no protections, they can easily compromise the account. Another thing that will happen if there is authentication weakness is that it's going to permit a brute force or other automated attacks. Now, brute force involves trying to, use every possible combination of usernames and password to gain access to accounts by using automated tools, which will make it very easy. So it means if I have a list of 1,000 passwords, I can actually program it into either ZAP, either Bob Suite to analyze it for me. It's going to be done in a matter of seconds. And based on the analysis, I'll be able to know which of those passwords can possibly be used to access such information, such database, such account. So the lack of account lock or rate limiting can make this very, very, very effective. In the course of this course, I've pasted a link in one of the slides, which when we get there, I'm going to be sharing with us, where there are 10,000 lists of bad passwords, 10,000 lists of weak passwords. And when we get to that point, I will want everyone on this call, because when you click on that link and you're on that site, you can actually use control find. So I want you to use control find and use some of the careless password that you have used in the past or that you are currently using to see if it's in the list of those 10,000 weak or bad or poor passwords. So those are the things that will result if there are weak authentication process put in place for systems or database, either for an organization or for a company. Please, can you give me few minutes? Sorry, please, can you still hear me?
Yes, sir, we can use that.
All right. Yes. Then another thing is it permits default weak or well-known password like admin, root. Mention them. Can someone just suggest, or can you just mention some of those weak passwords that we use?
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, root. Yes. Can someone suggest some of those other weak passwords that we usually use? Hear me?
QWERTY.
Yes, good. Yes. So all of those combinations are more like giving access to what those hackers can easily guess. And when they get such password and put them in automated process to analyze, they will be able to get some that may work for your login section and which will leave the user with a grave consequence, because data can be compromised, accounts can be hijacked in the process, funds can even be transferred if it has to do with accounts that has to do with finance or funds. So it is important we know what can lead to this type of attacks resulting from authentication weaknesses. Now, still on that, it uses a weak or ineffective credential recovery or forgot password process. Now, for example, we have some platforms that they will ask you your security questions. And can someone suggest some of those security questions we normally see out there? Like asking you the name of your first teacher, the name of your. Can we mention some of those examples? But I want you to give me
Date of birth.
Yes, date of birth. Yes, your best color or something like that. You
Mother's
know,
media name.
mother's baby's name. For example, maybe you have already gotten maybe your CV, and your CV contains your mother's maiden's name or something. And I come to some of your application trying to change the password, and luckily enough for me, I'm seeing that as a security question. Will I need to stress myself further? No. I'll just impute it, change the password, and take over the account. So it's going to result to, giving the hackers easy access to carry out password reset, to hijack your account from you, and it's going to give room to attacks that will lead to account takeover. Then another one is use what lead to authentication weaknesses, the use of plain text when our passwords are not hashed, both from the front end at the application level when you are entering the password, and also at the database end, at the state of rest. The password should be hashed. If it is in plain text, it will result to compromise. When the hackers are able to break into the database, they can actually get information to all the passwords that are stored in such a database. So also having a missing or ineffective MFA. Now, some people may feel MFA is a bit stressful. After entering my password or memorizing my password, I will also need to memorize the 4-digit code for MFA, and some people see it as a stress. But that layer of security is needed to ensure that if the hacker was able to break through at the password level, at the MFA level, they will be stranded. It will be a bit difficult for them to overcome that level of security. So, weak authentication or authentication weakness or weaknesses can also be, facilitated or made easy if our accounts lack MFA. So it is important that MFA should be put in place to secure our data, to secure our system, to secure unauthorized access. Now, the next is section management. Section management weakness. So now we have it's resulting to exposing of section identifier in the URL. Now, if the unique section ID in the URL is exposed, it can be an easy way for the attacker, after intersecting our traffic using application like Bob Suite or the OWASP Zap, it will be very, very easy for them for them to analyze it and go further to use it to have access to our system or to our accounts. So it is important to take note of this. Then reuses section identifier after successful login. A new section ID should be generated after every login to prevent section fixation attacks, where the hackers can actually set the section ID and the system will still recognize it as it being the legitimate person who initiated the section at the first place, in the first place rather. So if we put all of this to consideration at the level of the development of our application, at the security level, setting the security parameters and all of that, it's going to curb or even mitigate completely some of the attack that can result from section management weakness. Now, moving away from that, in continuation, it also results to when a user logs out from the section ID, the section ID should be destroyed. If the section ID is not destroyed on the server, the attacker might be able to get such information and use them later. Another thing is user sections or authentication token aren't properly invalidated during logout or inactivity, and we should not be. Now, if there is no proper invalidation after logout or inactivity, it will definitely result to attack that can emanate from section management weakness. Then sections should also have timeouts. Now, for example, if you have a system and you log on to that system or to a particular account, and maybe you're working on it and something takes you out of your desk and you forget to lock your system, ordinarily, if the timeout mechanism have been put in place, maybe after 10 seconds of inactivities, 1 minute of inactivities, 5 minutes of inactivities, the section will automatically time out by itself. Now, when this happens, it will prevent access to hackers gaining access to the information. Sorry, I'm moving a bit fast because time has been a bit fast spent all the moment we're struggling with the internet and all of that. So I'll be a bit fast. I want us to have our questions put your question down, or you can drop them in the chat room. And the slide also will be made available to the manager. So I might be moving on a very fast pace. So please bear with me so that we can meet up with time. So how do we prevent all of these things we've mentioned earlier from happening? Now, before I go into the slide, I want this class to be participatory. Can you go to either ChatGPT, Google, and type, how can identification and authentication failure be prevented? You can either mention it or drop it in the chat room. Please, let's do that very quickly. Can you quickly type that? Yes, I'm waiting to get a response. How can it be prevented? We have mentioned how these attacks can actually happen. How can we prevent them? How can we mitigate? How can we put some mechanism in place to take care of them? I'm currently in the chat room. I'm yet to see any response. You can unmute your mic also and give me one or two things to put in place to stop such attacks
Implement
from
strong
happening.
password policy.
That is beautiful, Richard Oyiloye, right?
Yes.
Yes, that is
And
beautiful.
utilize multi-factor authentication and implement rate limiting and account lockout mechanisms.
Beautiful. The answers are even in the problem we mentioned earlier, isn't it?
Yes.
That's beautiful. So when we know the problem, we find a solution to it, then we have a safe system. That is beautiful. I love that. I love that. Please let me know if you're still seeing. Okay.
Yeah,
Please.
user education. We need to educate the users.
Yes, the users needs to be educated, carry out awareness, carry out training.
So that they can use strong password practices. And
Yes.
then secure session management and secure password storage.
Yes, secure password storage. Yes. And people should also learn to use password they can memorize. I remember when I was still with one of the telecoms, a lady carelessly pasted her password on a sticky note. And the password was memorized by someone. And it was used in doing a SIM swap. And that SIM swap, after swapping the SIM, money was carted away from that person's bank account. And that case involved the police. The organization brought police into the matter because on the history of the application, whose assets do you think will be seen? Whose assets will be seen in the history?
Is the owner?
Yes, the owner. So the owner was seen as the person who has done that. So the case was being investigated. If there's going to be a saving grace, that is if there is a camera at the point at which the person was getting the password from the sticky notepad. So education is important. If that person has been educated on not being careless with her password, that wouldn't have happened. So thank you very much. I love that. So we're going to move on. Please just let me know if you're still seeing my screen.
Yes, sir.
Please let me know if you're still seeing my screen.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. So now we have mentioned some of those prevention. And here we have the first. Here that I have a strong authentication. Strong authentication. When our authentication processes are weak, then anyone can guess our password, anyone can break through the defense and have access to our information. And what are those ways that we can make our authentication strong? The first is by implementing MFA. It is important. Every application, including our social media, and some of the applications we use, including our bank application, give rooms for MFA. So it means the MFA can easily be done. It is not something that you need to even get a professional to come and set up for you. We also have some applications that by default are meant for MFA, which are not incorporated into applications and the rest. They are standalone applications that you can use in carrying out MFA on multiple devices or multiple applications. So when we put such in place, it will help us to guide our account, to protect our information, to protect our systems from being compromised. So MFA significantly reduces the risk of account takeover, even if the password are stolen. Like I said earlier, it will be difficult, quite difficult, for the hacker to also break through the MFA. So never ship or deploy with default credentials, especially for admin accounts. We have people setting up routers, setting up complex system, setting up cloud infrastructure, and using default credentials, using default username, using default password. If we do that, we are actually paving a way for hackers or any unauthorized person to gain access to such system or to such application. So default credentials are major security risk as they are publicly known and easy for attackers to exploit. Apart from the fact that they are publicly known, they are so easy for attackers to exploit because they don't need to stress themselves. They guess, they put it through the authentication process, and everything comes up. So moving away from that, we have, I want us to quickly look into this link. Okay, I'm going to place it right away on the chat room, and I want you to quickly do this for me. After logging onto this page, try any weak passwords that you know and let me know if they are found on this list. Please let me know if you can see the link. I've dropped the link. Let me know if you can see it on the chat room.
Yes, we can see it now.
If you can see it in the chat room, please let me know.
Yes, we can see it.
Can you quickly click on it? And
Okay.
once the page loads, press Ctrl F and search for any weak password that you know, and let me know if it's on the list. Let me know if it's on the list. Yes, can we quickly do that? Can we quickly do that? Yes, have we been able to do that, please?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me know the password you have tried on it. Press Ctrl F and search. Use any weak password that you know and search to know if it's on that list. We have 10,000 weak passwords and username, or let me just say credentials, that has been put up. That can also help organizations to come up with list of passwords that are not permitted when they are setting up their password policies. Or a link to this site can also be referenced on their policy, that any password contained on that site are not permitted to be used on any of the system or application in the organization. So can I have a response? What password or username have you tried on it? Is it found on the list?
I've tried like 2 to 3 passwords, and I can see them.
They are there.
Yes.
All right. So please tell me the truth. Nobody is going to crucify you for this. Those 3 passwords, are there any among them that you are using?
Yes, there's one.
All right. So that shows that that is vulnerable.
Okay.
They can easily guess that and gain access to whatever application or account you are using it on. So we have 10,000 list of such weak passwords. So we should implement weak password checks against the list of top 10,000 worst passwords. So this can actually be incorporated to password policy. Place the link there for whoever wants to set or change their password must not use any password. Maybe after coming up with a password they intended using, they can actually search through this list. If such password is found on the list, then it means such password must not be used. So prohibiting users from using common password greatly improves our security. Then also we must align policies with NIST 863B guidelines. I'm going to drop that link also in the chat room, so we can also look at that later. Even after this class, time may not permit us for you to actually look through it. I'm going to drop the link right away in the chat room for you. Please let me know if you can see the link. Let me know if you can see the link. I just dropped it in the chat room.
Yes, sir. I can see it, sir.
All right, very beautiful. So other modern and evidence-based policies, apart from the NIST, can also be implemented, which will have to do with the length of the password. Who can tell me what the length of a secure password should be?
Minimum
8 or more.
of 12.
Minimum, someone is saying minimum of 8, someone is saying minimum of 12.
I think it's
What?
minimum of 8.
8 is too common.
8 is too common, yes. Organizations are moving away from 8 and they are looking at 12, and some are even doing more. So putting up a combination of 12 letters or digits and arriving at a password won't be too easy. So the more the length of the password, the more complex it becomes. And also, like we mentioned earlier, having password policy. It should also be in the policy that password should be rotated. Let's say, for example, a user is not permitted to use a password for 3 months. After 3 months, the password should be changed. And if the password is to be changed, it should be a new one, not reusing the ones that have been used previously. So all of this is going to strengthen our password and authentication process. Then we also have modern guidelines that emphasize password length and complexity over frequent rotation. Rotation is not as key as having a complex password and having the right length. If we keep rotating a short password or a password that is contained in the list of worst passwords, even if we rotate our password 100 times, they can easily be guessed. And when they keep guessing it, they keep gaining access. So the bottom line is having a complex password that cannot be easily guessed. Please let me know if you can still see my screen.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, so the next thing is account hardening and section management. So because of our time, I'm going to rush through this. To have this in place, we have to harden our registration process, our credential recovery process. We made mention earlier the other time about having a simple recovery questions, and also API pathway against account enumeration by using consistent message for all outcomes. We must also ensure account enumeration allows attackers to discover and valid usernames. Then also we must ensure limits delay and failure login attempts. Now, if you try some application with the wrong password continuously, maybe for 3 times or for 4 or 5 times, you will discover that you will have to wait for 30 minutes or 1 hour. How many of us have experienced that?
Yes.
Yes. Now, but in putting this in place, that is to prevent the brute forcing, we must also ensure that we do not allow it to resort to DOS. Resorting to DOS is in the sense that the provider, or I mean the user, will be denied service, because at times the real users can actually forget their password. And when they forget the password, after trying it for some time, if they are denied, they can easily settle down and remember the right password, right? Am I correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Now, but if DOS has been put in place, which is denial of service, even if the person later remembers the password, will they be able to have access? No.
No.
Oh.
Yes. So they will have to go through a process of either account recovery or any mechanism that has been put in place
Or you
for.
call the customer care before you can reset it.
Beautiful. Call the customer care or send them a mail before you can reset it. So we must also be careful to prevent that from happening, because ordinarily we could also forget our password momentarily, and some may even forget it and wait to get back to where it is written in a safe place, maybe in their diary or so. But if they have been denied access, even after accessing the real password, they will not be able to have access to service. So we must also log. Okay, rate limiting slows down attackers, but must be carefully implemented to, it's still the same thing, to prevent locking out the legitimate user. Then we must also log all failures and alert administrators to potential attacks, which has to do with credential stuffing, brute force, and the rest of them. And monitoring login attempts helps to dictate response to attacks. So we must also have a monitoring mechanism put in place to ensure the activities of login taking place on our account, on our system. Mostly this is done at the back end, and such will help to detect suspicious login attempts. So still in continuation of account admin and session management, use a site server secure built-in section manager. Now if we use this will avoid custom management, as it is prone to error. So we'll be able to bring up a well-tested libraries that we can use to actually prevent access to unauthorized users. Then also, we should generate new random section IDs with high entropy after login. This prevents section fixation attacks. High entropy makes ID harder to guess. But if the entropy is not put in place, people could actually guess, and they will guess true and have access to the system. Then also, very quickly, session ID should not be in the URL. Our URL, which is the address that we see on the top of the browser, should be securely stored and be invalidated after logout, idle time, or absolute timeout. Once there is timeout, once there is logout, once there is what is it again, idle time, the section should be invalidated. a new section should be generated. So this will help to protect section IDs from being hijacked, and also ensure that there is a proper termination. So let's quickly see if we can do one or two things from ZAP before we round up. Our time has been fast spent. ZAP, like we saw in the last two classes, I think it should be last 2 weeks, right? That we look at security misconfiguration. We had access to the ZAP application. How many of us actually downloaded it after that class? How many of us downloaded it after that class? Please, can you hear me? Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. How many of us downloaded ZAP in the class I took the other time? I made the link available and also explained the process. So how many of us were able to have it on our system?
Yet to do that.
Oh, yet to do that. All right. I've made the slide, the practical aspect, so explanatory, and I hope the manager will make that available to you. Ensure you download the OWASP application. You can always reach out to us for guidance on how to install it if you have issues doing so. And make sure you practice all of these steps that I'm going to be taking us through. The OWASP application is a proxy that allows you to intercept and manipulate HTTP traffics. I explained more of that in the other class when we were considering the security misconfiguration. So I don't really need to go back into that. So we want to quickly look at credential stuffing, which has to do with using a list of known credentials to gain access to application. And the first step to achieve this is to configure ZAP on our application. This, which I've actually explained in the other class we had, that you have to install the application. After installing the application, you have to go to the option. From the options, then you go to your tools. You have your local proxy, where you have the proxy number, which is 127.0.0.1, and you go back to your browser and configure the same credential there. Then once you do that, the ZAP application will get traffic from the browser you have configured it to work with. So after that has been done, then you can now go to the list. I drop a list of websites that are meant for testing. Do we still have that? Because it is important that you don't use any website that you are not granted permission to run on these tools that are used for intercepting traffics. So if you don't have permission to use an application or a URL and you are using it, it could become a serious legal problem if the owner of such URL gets to discover. But there are websites that have been put in place for the purpose of testing, and we have a list of them here. I'm going to drop them on the chat room, in the chat room once again. Then we'll just look at either one or two of them, then we round up this section. Please let me know if you can see. Please, can we see them? Please let me know if you can see them. Let me know if you can see them.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So now we are going to be using one of those websites to actually look at some of this testing we want to do very quickly. So, like I said earlier, credential stuffing uses list of known credentials to gain access. So after configuring the ZAP application, the step 2 is for you to identify login form in the target application. So I'm going to be minimizing my slide so that we can have the ZAP application also showing on the screen alongside with it. So this is the ZAP application interface. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
We are still seeing your PowerPoint.
Oh, all right. So let me stop sharing and share again. After running this process very quickly, we'll be rounding up. Let me share my entire screen. How about now?
Okay, we
How
can see
about
your
now?
shared.
All right, you can see the ZAP application and you can see the PowerPoint.
Yes, yes.
All right, that is beautiful. So I'm going to be starting a new section. I'm going to click on File, then click on New Section. Then it's asking me if I want to save the current section or I want to discard. So I can just click Cancel if I don't do anything. And if I want to, I can just click OK. So when I click OK, I'm going to get this prompt. Do you want to persist the subsection? I can say no, I do not want to persist the sub, or choose any of the option and click Start. So once I click Start, it's going to clear everything I have on the history. As we can see, it has been cleared. And I will now go to my Mozilla Firefox. That is what I have configured to use with the ZAP application. So let me just close this. I am actually using one of those that I pasted. Let me point out the actual one so that you can also click on it. That should be the second one, the BWAP. You can also go to the site, the BWAP. The second URL, or the third URL rather, the BWAP. So I'm going to be using that. I'm going to put that right away on my Mozilla. And the moment I'm having it on the Mozilla Firefox, my traffic will be captured on the ZAP application. Let me quickly go back to the ZAP application. Now you can see that the history is empty, right? There is no section that has been captured. Now, because I've configured my Mozilla Firefox with the same proxy that I'm having, I am having on the ZAP application, everything, every traffic, everything that I'm doing right there will be captured. Sorry, let me quickly open my Mozilla Firefox application again. It's not showing. So it's coming up. Yes, so this is it. So I am going to, not now. So I am going to use this URL. It's loading. So we can also use the same URL. The URL is trying to come up. Please, can we still see my screen?
Yes.
Can we still see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Please let me know if you're... All right. Okay, I want the application to take me to a login page. There's somewhere in the, on the website that has a login page. Sorry, the internet is a bit poor. It's not loading the page well. I should have a page on this website that will require authentication. All right, let me quickly pick any of those other ones that we have in the chat room. All right, while I'm trying to get the one that has a login page so that I can easily demonstrate what I want us to see, let's go back to our ZAP application. Can we see the history tab? Can we see the history tab where I am actually having my cursor? Can we see it?
Yes.
Please, can we see it? All right, can we see that below some information has populated? It was empty before, right? Can we see it?
Yes, we
Yes.
can. Yes, we can, sir.
All right, so if we click on any of these, it's going to give us further information that has to do with that particular URL. So if we look and study through it, and we understand more of HTML and coding, we can easily look through it to see if there are areas of vulnerability. Then if we go to the alert as well, and we double click, we are going to even see some of these alerts made already, and it has level of severity. We have the medium, we have the high, we have the low. Now here we have application error disclosure. If we double click on it, it's going to give us information, and also it's going to give us the solution. This page contains an error warning message that may disclose sensitive information, like the location of the file that produced the unhandled expectation, and who should not be. So if we go down, we are going to see solution. Solution now, probably after we have gotten this as a security person, and you need to write a recommendation or what to do to the developers. Now you can see the solution asking that there should be a review of the source code of this page, and to implement custom error pages, consider implementing mechanism to provide a unique error reference stroke identifier to the client browser while logging in the details. So now let me quickly go back to my Mozilla Firefox to see if that page has loaded correctly. I want to have an access to a login page. All right, it has not yet come up. Let me pick another URL from the list of URL that I dropped in the chat room. Yes, let me quickly pick this. All right. We might get some of this error when we are trying some of these test websites because they are designed originally not to be secured. The right mechanism that should be put in place, some of them does not even have the right, they don't have the right HTTPS and the rest. So our browser will give us this kind of response that they are not safe. But since we know that they've been designed for test purpose, just click on advanced. And when you click on advanced, you accept the risk and continue. So when you click on accept the risk and continue, the page will come up. So I have clicked on it. Yes, this particular one gives me credentials. So it's giving me access to register. Now I'm going to click on the login page. Now before clicking on the login page, I'm going to quickly take us back to our ZAP application. Now on the ZAP application, let me clear this section so that we have a fresh section. So can we see that both on the history everything is cleared? Can we see that? Can we see it? Please, can I know if you can see it?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, please.
All right. So now it is cleared. Now I'm going to refresh this page so that the traffic will be captured on our ZAP application. I am refreshing it. And while I'm doing that, we quickly go to the ZAP application. Can we see now that it has populated the information relating to that URL? Can we see it? Can we see the address bar? And can we see what I have on the ZAP application? Can we see it?
Yes,
Now, all right. So I'm going to click on the login now. Okay, let me do it like this. Let me put it side by side with the ZAP application. So I'm going to click on the login page. Oh, okay. I will just have to go back to how it was before. I'm not going to see some features if I minimize it that way. So I'm going to click on the login page. If I click on the login page, now on this history, we have 1358, right? We have the post, we have the get, right? So we have all of these four here. So now I'm going to click on this login, and that action will also be captured on the ZAP because the traffic has been intercepted. So I'll click on my login page. Here are we on the login page. I'm going to try admin to see if that's going to work for me. All right, admin is not working. I'm getting an error page, an error response. So let's go back to our ZAP application. Now on our ZAP application, you can see that more traffics have actually come in. Now, the last one which I did, which has to do with the login. Anything that has to do with login will give us post. When you see post, it has to do with login. So if I click on it now, we are going to analyze and look through this to see if this will be capturing anything that I imputed when I was trying to log in. All right, we can see that some of the information here are hashed. They are not coming in a plain response that I can actually get some information from. All right, so since this is not going to work for us, we will now come back here. Now, before going back here, let's see the alert. Okay, let's leave the alert. Let's just go straight ahead. Back to the history. Now, on the history, I'm going to right-click on this. And I'll go to attack. Then from the attack, I will go to fuse. So, coming here now, what I am after is to see if I can get a list of password, if they have used any common password here that I can actually use in accessing. So I'm going to load on my loader. I'm going to click on add and put some common passwords that I know people could use easily. So I'm going to put admin, and I'll click add to add it to my loader. I'm also going to put admin uppercase as username, admin first letter uppercase as my password, and add. I'm going to put root lowercase username and password, root lowercase. I'm going to add it up. I'm going to also put what again? PWD. Some people use such passwords too. I'm going to add now, but to make this easy, we can actually upload a list of passwords we have on documents. We can upload them. Now, when we upload it on the payloaders, it will analyze even if it's 1,000 passwords that we have on it. But now that we don't have a set of password list, that we have just put this few, we may not get the desired result of a password that we act through this login process. But let's try this few that we have gotten. Let's click on the start fuser. So when we click on it, it will start analyzing. It will start analyzing. Now from the analysis, let me now maximize this. Now we can see that the fuser analysis is completed. We have 100%. Now, can you quickly go to your browser? We will be rounding up with this. Because of our time, we can't go further. Can you quickly go to our browser? I want you to learn this, to know this. All of this code has meaning. 200 means it's okay. 400 means bad request. What is 308? What is 4? Let's look at all the meaning of all of this code, because that will help us to analyze. Now for admin.
Hello, Mr. Amos. Are you there?
Please, can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, Mr. Amos.
Can anyone hear me, please?
We can hear you now.
Oh, were you able to get all the explanation I did using the application?
No, your network tripped off.
Oh, all right. Now I'm going to go back. I'm going back to the history now. Please, I want you to be responding because I actually maximize the application. So I may not know when the network trip off, so that I will know that you are still on with me. Please, can you hear me? Please,
Yes, we
can you
can hear
hear
you.
me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can
So
hear
when
you.
you see post, you know, on my browser here, on the Mozilla Firefox, I have actually gone through the login, and that traffic was captured. And here on Zap application, it is represented as post. Then we also have another which is get. The one that has to do with post is related to login. Upon clicking on it, I've searched through. I can see that some of the information here are hashed. So I cannot even see the trace of what the password will be. So based on that, I now decide to do a fuse to launch an attack. Please let me know if you can still hear me.
Yes.
All right, so what I'm going to do now is to click on this particular URL that I want to fuse. When I right
We
click on
can
it,
hear
I will go
you,
to
but
attack.
we can't see your screen.
You
We
can
are
see
not
my
sure.
screen.
Amos, we can hear you, but we can't see your screen.
Oh, sorry about that. Let me share it again. I'm actually doing this demonstration on the Zap application. Let me share the screen again. Sorry about that. Let me share the entire screen. Let me know if you are seeing my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can see your screen now.
All right. So all of this traffic that are captured under history, the history is where this is the history, and these are what are populated under the history. Can we see it? We have posts, we have gets, and the rest of them. We have the code, which has to do with the response. We have code 200, we have code 304, blah, 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 and all of that, and all of this information. So now, upon clicking on this post, which has to do with login, you know, I tried logging in on Mozilla Firefox on that web application. I was denied using admin, right? Please, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. So now, I now want to launch an attack by using the fuser. So I'm going to right click now on this post, knowing that it has to do with the login. I'm going to come to attack. Then after coming to attack, I will now come to fuse. So if I click on fuse, fuse will take me here. Now, and my target now is to gain access to log in. So I'm going to click on my target and add information to the loader. So now I'm going to click on add, and when it populates here, that's the payload rather, I'm going to click add. Please let me know if you can still hear me and if you are seeing my screen.
Yes.
So what I will be adding now are passwords, default password that I know might likely be used on that application. So I'm adding admin as the username and also admin as the password. Then I'm going to click on add. Okay, it's going to be here. But let me add more. Let me just cancel this because just this is not going to work. Let me remove it and start afresh. So let me add. Now, adding this, I have had. Sorry. I'm going to type admin as the username, admin as the password. Admin as the password. I'm going to add it to the list. I'm going to click on add again and put root. I know some people could likely use root as the username and also root as the password. Let me know if you can still hear me. Then another one I know people can use again is let's say password 123 as the username, password 123. I'm going to add it. Now, because of our time, let me just limit it to these three. But we may not actually have success with this, because for us to use this function very well, we can have a list of 1,000 or 500 passwords, and we load them as a document. Then we click on Start Fuser, or we load it manually like what you have seen. Please let me know if you are still seeing my screen.
Yes, you can see us.
All right, so I'm going to click on Start Fuser. So when I click on it, you can see that the analysis has been done, giving me results, 100% complete. Now, 200. So now, please let me know if you can hear me. 200 means okay. Now, but for the ones I use, which is admin, I'm getting 400, which is a bad request. It means if I use that admin, please, can you still hear me? Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Go ahead, we can hear you. We can't hear you again, no.
Hello, Mr. Amos. I think your network went off.
So we are already rounding up the class. I think if it's not able to get back on the class, then we might have to call it a wrap here. But let me try and get across to him and see if we can quickly round up. I think you can round up the class now. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I just got in touch with him. He's rejoining now. and let's hope it works. If it doesn't work, then Emmanuel, I would let you know so you can round up the class.
All right, ma'am.
Okay, so I think he's still having hard time rejoining the call. And my conversation with him, he was on the last demonstration, before rounding up the class. Okay, so please, Emmanuel, you can take it up from here and round up the class. I think we've exhausted all, he has exhausted all he had for today's class, and he was just on the last lap of it. So go ahead, please.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, ma'am. So we have come to the end of today's session. I'm sure it was really insightful. It was really, really knowledge filled. And please do not forget the recording and the materials for this session. The first session, the second one will be posted on Telegram, only Telegram. So please, if you're not on the Telegram group, endeavor to do that and make sure to register for this course. Thank you so much for your time and have a lovely weekend.